The night was unusually silent in the Mojave Desert, the stars a vivid tapestry against the dark sky. Jack Harlow, a young aerospace engineer with an unruly mop of brown hair and a penchant for late-night tinkering, was holed up in his workshop. Surrounded by scattered blueprints and half-assembled drones, he was lost in his latest project, a prototype of a solar-powered glider. The serene quietude was shattered by a deafening roar and a streak of fire that cut across the sky. Jack's first thought was a meteor, but the trajectory was all wrong. It was controlled, deliberate. Curiosity overcame caution. He grabbed his keys, threw on his jacket, and rushed out to his old, reliable pickup. Driving toward the crash site, his heart pounded with a mix of excitement and fear. The desert night was cool, and the burning object had lit up the horizon with an eerie, otherworldly glow. Arriving at the site, Jack was met with a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. The crater was glowing, the ground around it scorched, and in the center lay the remnants of what could only be a spacecraft, its design unlike anything terrestrial. Cautiously he approached, his engineer's curiosity now mingled with a rescuer's urgency. Among the twisted metal and strange flickering lights, he found her, an alien girl, unconscious, with skin that seemed to shimmer under the light of his flashlight and hair that flowed like liquid silver. Her breathing was shallow, and she bore visible injuries. Despite the shock of the encounter, Jack's instincts kicked in. He carefully lifted her, surprised by her lightness, and carried her to his truck. The drive back was tense, every bump in the road making him wince. He set up a makeshift bed in the corner of his workshop with clean sheets and laid her down gently. His hands moved with practiced precision as he cleaned her wounds, which, to his amazement, seemed to react to his touch, the skin moving subtly to close small cuts. As she lay there, a faint glow began to emanate from her skin, casting a soft light in the dim workshop. Jack sat back, exhausted and bewildered, watching over his unexpected guest. Who was she? Why had she come to Earth? And what would happen when she woke up? In the silence that followed, filled only with the soft hum of his machines and the distant howl of desert winds, Jack realized that his life had just changed forever. The first light of dawn crept through the dusty windows of Jack's workshop, casting long shadows across the cluttered space. The alien girl, Ilara, remained unconscious, her breathing steady and rhythmic. Jack, having spent the night watching over her with a mix of fascination and concern, finally succumbed to exhaustion and dozed off in a chair nearby. Jack was jolted awake by the soft sound of movement. Blinking the sleep from his eyes, he saw Ilara sitting up, her eyes wide with confusion and fear. Her gaze fixed on her surroundings and then on Jack, her expression a complex tapestry of wariness and curiosity. "Hey, it's okay. You're safe here," Jack said softly, holding his hands up in a gesture of peace. His voice seemed to startle her, but also piqued her interest. Ilara's injuries, which had seemed quite severe the night before, now appeared significantly healed. The cuts had closed and the bruises had faded, leaving only the faintest traces on her luminous skin. Jack, with a background in both engineering and basic first aid, knew this was beyond any human medical capability. "Where am I?" Ilara's voice was melodic, each word tinged with a musical quality unlike anything Jack had ever heard. "You're in my workshop, in the Mojave Desert. Your ship crashed last night," Jack explained, cautiously approaching her. "I brought you here. You were hurt." Ilara processed this information, her eyes scanning the array of tools and unfinished projects scattered around the room. "Earth," she murmured, a look of realization crossing her face. "I'm on Earth." "Yes, Earth. I'm Jack," he introduced himself, extending a hesitant hand. Ilara looked at his hand, then back at his face, and gently placed her own hand in his. Her touch was cool and smooth, and where her skin met his, a faint glow appeared briefly. "Ilara," she introduced herself. As the initial shock faded, Jack offered Ilara some water and simple food, which she accepted with a quiet gratitude. They spent the morning talking, Jack asking questions about her world and her journey, careful not to overwhelm her. Ilara explained that she was from Xylar, a planet many light-years away. Her journey to Earth was not intentional. She had been escaping a conflict, her ship damaged during an attack, which led to the crash. Her ability to heal quickly, she revealed, was common among her people, a necessary adaptation to their harsh environment. Jack was captivated by her story, his engineer's mind intrigued by the advanced technology she described, and his human side moved by her plight. Despite the incredible nature of the situation, a bond began to form between the earthbound engineer and the alien survivor, grounded in mutual curiosity and burgeoning trust. As the day wore on, Jack realized that Ilara would need more than just a place to recover. She needed a place to stay, at least until she could figure out her next move, and he offered his workshop as a sanctuary. Ilara accepted, her luminous eyes bright with unspoken gratitude, marking the beginning of their extraordinary companionship. Over the next few days, Jack's workshop transformed from a solitary inventor's cluttered haven to a lively interspecies communication center. Ilara, despite her initial caution, quickly warmed up to Jack's genuine kindness and curiosity about her world. Her English was broken but functional, learned through an educational interface on Xylar that taught several Earth languages, part of a cultural exchange program, she explained. As they talked, Jack introduced a small whiteboard to help with more complex concepts, scribbling diagrams and words. Ilara, in turn, began to share more about her own language, a complex system of vocal tones and telepathic nuances. She revealed that her people often communicated emotions and abstract concepts through mental imagery, a form of communication that was new and fascinating to Jack. One evening, as they sat under the glow of a makeshift lamp, Ilara tentatively reached out her hand towards Jack. "May I?" she asked, indicating a willingness to share something more directly. With Jack's nod, she placed her fingertips gently against his temples. What followed was a burst of vivid images and sensations, colors Jack had never seen, sounds he had never heard, and feelings that seemed to transcend human emotion. "It's beautiful," Jack murmured, awestruck by the intimacy and depth of the exchange. "Yes, it's how we share our true selves," Ilara responded, a soft smile playing on her lips. The experience bonded them further, creating a deep sense of trust and understanding. Their days fell into a comfortable routine. Mornings were for language lessons and cultural exchanges. Ilara was fascinated by Earth's diverse ecosystems and species, something Xylar lacked due to its more uniform environment. In return, she taught Jack about Xylar's technology, which harnessed energy from natural elements more efficiently than anything on Earth. In the afternoons, they focused on more practical matters. Jack showed Ilara how to use various tools around the workshop, and together, they began to tinker with some of the remaining tech from her crashed ship. Although much of it was beyond repair, Ilara managed to salvage several components that could be integrated with Earth technology. Their conversations often stretched into the evening, sometimes turning into debates about ethics, philosophy, and the potential for future interactions between humans and Xylarians. These discussions revealed their different perspectives, but also highlighted common values, such as a deep respect for life and a desire for peace. Through this daily sharing and learning, Jack and Ilara not only bridged the gap between their worlds, but also started to explore the possibility of a friendship that defied the vast distances of space. Despite the challenges ahead, they found solace in the unique connection they had forged, a testament to the power of communication and open-mindedness. Their peaceful routine was disrupted one crisp morning by the distant sound of vehicles approaching. Jack's heart sank as he peeked through a dusty window to see black SUVs kicking up clouds of desert sand, heading straight for his workshop. "They found us," he muttered, the weight of the situation settling heavily on his shoulders. Ilara sensed his distress and followed his gaze. "Who are they?" she asked, her voice tinged with anxiety. "Government, most likely. They monitor anything that enters Earth's atmosphere. I should have known they'd come," Jack explained hurriedly as he began to think of a plan. He knew they needed to leave immediately if they were to have any chance of evading capture. "We need to go, now." Grabbing a backpack, Jack filled it with essential supplies, water, food, basic medical kits, and a few tools. Ilara collected some of the functional pieces of her technology, small enough to carry, which might help them on the run. Together, they slipped out the back door of the workshop just as the vehicles pulled up in front. Using the rough desert terrain to their advantage, Jack led Alara to an old jeep he'd kept hidden under a tarp for emergencies. The vehicle roared to life, and they sped away, the rocky landscape bouncing them around as they put distance between themselves and Jack's workshop. As they navigated through the rugged paths of the Mojave, Alara showed Jack how to use a small, disc-shaped device she had saved from her ship. "It's a cloaking device," she explained, activating it to create a distortion field around the jeep, making it nearly invisible to the naked eye. For hours they drove deeper into the desert, avoiding main roads and any populated areas. They finally stopped in a secluded canyon, where towering red rocks provided cover and a chance to rest. Here, they set up a temporary camp as the sun set, painting the sky with strokes of orange and purple. That night, under the stars, their situation began to truly sink in. "We can't run forever," Jack said, his voice low. "They'll keep looking for us." Alara nodded, her eyes reflecting the firelight. "I know, but perhaps we can find a way to communicate with them, to explain why I'm here. I believe not all humans will see me as a threat." Jack considered this, the engineer in him already running through possible scenarios and solutions. "Maybe," he agreed, "but for now we need to stay hidden until we can figure out a safer approach." Their conversation drifted into plans for the coming days. They would need to stay mobile and cautious, using Alara's technology sparingly to avoid detection. Jack thought about other safe houses he knew, places left behind by old friends and forgotten by time. As they planned, a bond of trust and mutual respect solidified between them. They were two beings from different worlds, thrown together by chance, but united by a common goal: survival. In the quiet of the desert night, they found not only an ally in each other, but also a friend. After several days of evading their pursuers through the more remote parts of the Mojave, Jack and Alara found themselves at an old, abandoned mine, known only to a few locals as a relic of a busier, more prosperous time. It was hidden among the folds of rugged terrain, with a network of underground tunnels that offered both shelter and a potential escape route if needed. Jack knew about it from his days of exploring the desert, and it seemed like the perfect temporary hideout. As they settled into the mine, the cool, damp air inside was a stark contrast to the dry, searing heat outside. Jack set up a small, secure camp near the entrance, while Alara explored the deeper chambers, fascinated by the mineral streaks in the rock and the engineering of the supports still holding strong after decades. Their main goal was clear: repair Ilara's communicator to contact her people. The device had been damaged during the crash, and while Alara was proficient in technology, the resources on Earth were limited. Together, they gathered various electronic parts from Jack's truck and the remnants of her ship's technology. Jack was impressed by how Alara could repurpose even the most mundane human-made electronics into something extraordinary. Days turned into nights as they worked tirelessly, Jack learning more about alien technology than he ever thought possible. Alara explained the principles of her technology, which operated on an energy frequency far advanced from anything on Earth. She managed to modify her communicator to partially work with Earth's electronic standards, a testament to her ingenuity and adaptability. During their time in the mine, their conversations delved deeper into each other's cultures and personal histories. Alara spoke of Zilar's vast libraries and the collective learning of her people, which was shared through neural connections, making every individual both a student and a teacher. Jack shared stories of Earth's diverse cultures, the conflicts and the triumphs, and his own dreams of advancing human technology to reach the stars. One evening, as they took a break from their intensive work, Jack noticed Alara looking particularly thoughtful. "What's on your mind?" he asked. Alara sighed, her gaze fixed on the small, flickering light of their makeshift lantern. "I am thinking about home, about how I was taught to fear and distrust other species. But being here with you, working together, it has shown me how wrong those teachings were." Jack nodded, understanding her conflict. Fear of the unknown is universal, I guess, but so is curiosity and the potential for friendship. Maybe we're not that different after all. Encouraged by their progress and their deepening friendship, they finally managed to complete the repairs. The communicator buzzed to life, its lights blinking in sequence. Ilara's face lit up with hope. A signal was sent, a call for help to her people. Now, all they could do was wait and hope for a response that would offer them a way forward, not just for Ilara to get home, but to perhaps bridge the gap between two worlds. They settled down to watch the stars, each lost in thoughts of what the future might hold, both for them and for the possible relations between Earth and Xelar. The days following the successful repair and activation of Ilara's communicator were tense. Jack and Ilara remained hidden in the old mine, their ears constantly tuned for the sound of vehicles or voices that might indicate their discovery. Each passing day without a response from Xelar increased their anxiety, but they tried to remain hopeful. As they waited, they fortified their hideout, setting up makeshift alarms using salvaged parts from the workshop and Ilara's ship. Jack taught Ilara how to navigate the surrounding desert, recognizing safe plants and sources of water, should they need to split up or suddenly move locations. One chilly evening, as Jack was returning from a perimeter check, he spotted a group of vehicles slowly making their way toward their hideout. His heart sank. The government agents had finally caught up with them. Rushing back, he alerted Ilara. "They're here. We need to be ready to move." Ilara nodded, her expression calm yet resolute. "I have sent another signal to my people, just in case," she said, her fingers deftly moving over her communicator one last time. As the agents surrounded the entrance of the mine, Jack and Ilara prepared for a confrontation. They had few options, but surrendering without an attempt to negotiate was not one they favored. Jack peeked from behind a rock, trying to gauge the number and armament of their opponents. The lead agent, a woman with a stern face and authoritative voice, called out to them through a megaphone. "We know you're in there. Come out with your hands up. We have the place surrounded." Jack looked at Ilara. "I'll talk to them. Maybe we can resolve this peacefully." Before Ilara could protest, Jack stepped out into the open, his hands raised. "Listen," he began, his voice echoing slightly in the open air. "The person I'm with is not a threat. She's here accidentally, and we've been trying to contact her people for help." The agent listened, her expression unreadable. "We need to take her into custody, Mr. Harlow. She's an alien entity. It's not up to you." At that moment, a faint sound broke through the tense air, the distinctive hum of an advanced engine. Lights appeared in the sky, moving rapidly towards them. Ilara's people had received her message and were here to retrieve her. The agents were momentarily distracted by the sudden appearance of the alien spacecraft. Seizing the opportunity, Ilara stepped beside Jack. "I can go with them peacefully," she addressed the lead agent directly, her voice steady. "But let him go. He has done nothing wrong." After a tense pause, the agent lowered her weapon. "Stand down," she commanded her team. As the alien ship landed, a few otherworldly figures emerged, their attire and technology unlike anything the agents or Jack had ever seen. The lead alien, who introduced himself as a Xelarian diplomat, spoke in perfect English. "We thank you for assisting, Ilara. We apologize for any distress our presence has caused. We wish to take our citizen and depart peacefully, with your permission." Negotiations ensued, brief and to the point. The government agents, aware of the diplomatic implications, agreed to let Ilara and her rescuers leave without further interference. As the moment of departure arrived, Jack and Ilara shared a poignant goodbye. "Thank you for everything," Ilara said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I should be the one thanking you," Jack replied, his voice thick with emotion. "You've opened my eyes to so much more than I ever knew existed." With one last embrace, Ilara turned and walked towards her people, her figure silhouetted against the bright lights of the spacecraft. Jack watched as the ship ascended into the night sky, its lights fading into the stars, leaving him with memories of a friendship that had changed his world forever. In the quiet aftermath of the spacecraft's departure, Jack stood alone in the desert, the stars overhead seeming brighter, more numerous. The silence was profound, a stark contrast to the whir of alien technology that had filled the air just moments before. His heart was heavy with loss, yet uplifted by the profound connection he had experienced. As he turned to leave, a soft beep emitted from his pocket startled him. He pulled out a small device Ilara had slipped into his hand during their farewell, an advanced communication tool from Xylar. The screen flickered to life, and Ilara's face appeared, her expression both serene and joyful. "Jack," she began, her voice clear despite the vast distance, "I couldn't leave without giving you a choice. My people have extended an invitation to you. They are grateful for your kindness and bravery in helping me. You have a place among us if you wish to learn more about Xylar and explore our galaxy." Jack was stunned. The offer was beyond anything he had imagined. His mind raced with the possibilities of interstellar travel, alien cultures, and advanced sciences. Yet his thoughts also turned to Earth, to his quiet life in the desert, the workshop filled with unfinished projects, and the familiarity of home. Taking a deep breath, Jack looked up at the night sky, now a canvas of possibilities. "Ilara," he replied, "give me some time to sort things out here. But yes, I'd like that. I'll come." Ilara's smile was radiant. "We will wait for you," she assured him. "This device will keep us connected until you are ready. Safe travels, Jack." The device went dark, and Jack pocketed it, a sense of purpose energizing him. He knew he had preparations to make, affairs to settle on Earth, goodbyes to say, and a journey to plan. The prospect of venturing into the unknown was daunting but exhilarating. Over the next few weeks, Jack set his workshop in order, arranging for a trusted friend to take care of it. He studied the information Ilara sent him about Xylar, familiarizing himself with their customs and environment to ease his transition. He also spent time with family and friends, sharing his plans without divulging too much about the incredible truths he had learned. Finally, the day came. With his affairs in order, Jack drove out to a designated location in the desert, the communication device in hand. As the sun set, casting a fiery glow over the sands, the familiar hum of a spacecraft descended. The Xylarians greeted him warmly, their technology ensuring his safety and comfort. As the ship ascended, Jack watched Earth shrink away, a swirl of blues, greens, and browns. The fear of the unknown lingered, but the excitement of a new chapter overshadowed it. As the spacecraft entered the vast, star-filled expanse of space, Jack realized that his life had taken a turn towards something truly extraordinary. He was not just an engineer anymore, he was an explorer, a bridge between worlds. Filled with hope and anticipation, he looked forward to the adventures that awaited him, the knowledge he would gain, and the stories he would one day tell of the distant world called Xylar, and the alien girl who had changed his life forever.